Hello again, MGTOW. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have another black screen for you, and again, the reason why is because I already had my fun today. I saw too many places, and unfortunately, I was not able to record any of them. But it's the end of the day, and I figure it's a great time to put a video together and talk to you guys a little bit about some of the things I've been seeing in the manosphere lately. And the whole approach to the MGTOW philosophy that some of these guys are taking. Let's talk about the black pill, right? Because there's some guys out there that they come into the MGTOW community, right? And they have never had experience with women, or they've had very limited experience with women, right? And they say, well, the ceiling just caved in, right? I took the red pill and the ceiling just caved in. So I'm gonna go one step further, and I'm gonna call it a black pill, and I'm gonna go into nihilism, right? I'm gonna begin seeing the negative in everything. And while it's taking this metaphorical red pill can be a tough experience at first, leading to rage, because you've been taken for a sucker for so long by these women, unsuspectingly. You had been taken advantage of by people who were much more cunning than you were, right? It can lead to that, so-called rage that we speak about. But, after that, you should be able to move on to something much more productive than just nihilism, right? And you have to look around your life, you see. And a lot of guys say, well, I live in poverty, right? Shit, I've been there. I've lived in poverty. And what is poverty? Actually, let's talk a little bit about economics here, because poverty is not the same as being broke. Poverty is more of a state of mind, you see. It's a mindset of scarcity, you see. You can be surrounded by wealth and not even see it, not even know that you're wealthy, because you're so busy comparing yourself to other people, right, and what they have. And there's always someone that's going to have more than you, and always someone that's going to have less than you, right? And if you're lucky to live in this very prosperous, modern, day America, right, where you go into a shopping mall and everything that you can imagine is there, right? Just looking around and seeing all this stuff, it makes you feel wealthy, right? Even if you don't have the resources at the time, you don't have the resources to trade, for that stuff. Just the fact that it's there, right? The fact that someone was able to produce it in this advanced society should make you feel somewhat wealthy, right? And you walk into the center of town, you can go into the nicer areas of town, and look at the public, the public buildings, right? It's all yours. It's there, as a representation of the wealth that you have contributed to the society, along with your neighbors, right? To put it all together so we can have a functioning civilization, right? And it all belongs to you, The sidewalks are yours, right? And if you think about it, well, a sidewalk, who wants a sidewalk, right? Well, let's take it all into consideration, right? I mean, a sidewalk, a raised pedestrian walkway, is something that many of our ancestors knew nothing about, right? And in the early days of the automobile, there was no such thing, right? And people got run over. It wasn't as safe. So we're lucky. We have those things, right? We have a sidewalk, and in those sidewalks, we as we walk down that, those sidewalks, many of them who are, that are very broad, right? With plenty of spacing for people to come and go on the same side of the street. You also have light poles, right? And those light poles, many of them in some towns, they're ornamented. They're not just poles. They're many of them, they may be made of metal, and they have imagery of flowers or some other things. You can go into the churches, right? Now, I'm not gonna go into detail about this, but you can go into, some of these churches can be very beautiful, and they're open for a large part of the day, and you can enjoy seeing the carved furniture, the beautiful marble columns, right? The artwork, or you can just stand stand outside of it, right? And see the stonework, right? Or the ceilings, right? Some of those ceilings are very, very expensive, right? The roofs can be very expensive. There's so many things to enjoy for free, and life has so much to offer. You can have so many hobbies, and many of these hobbies can turn into lucrative, financially lucrative opportunities for you. In my case, I'm not going to go into details of all of my hobbies, but in my case, I mean, I love cycling. I really do. I mean, I have a motorcycle license, but that wasn't my thing, and I've pretty much put my hands on every kind of vehicle out there. Every kind of car, every kind of truck, every kind of SUV or whatever. I used to park cars for a living, but I want to say about 20 years ago. When I first started working, it was one of the first things I did was, valet parking. So I drove the fancier cars out there. I've driven the cheaper ones, and I've put my hand on several different trucks. Even those wiggly toys that kids use, right, with two wheels and they kind of wiggle. I learned to ride one of those things because that's just what I like to do. I like to get around. I like to see things, right? And I'm really having a blast enjoying all of the architecture that is available out here for us to see, right? Many of these people, designers, right? They spend years of schooling to put these masterpieces of architecture together, right? And it's all out there. The largest display of public art for you to enjoy. Just open your eyes. It's there for you to see all this beauty. I also enjoy cooking, as simple as that may sound. I mean, I'm vegan and I enjoy cooking. Unfortunately, I don't cook much because I tend to be driving a lot of times, and sometimes I could cook. I can cook in the truck. I can cook while I drive. I have a portable stove. But anyways, enough about myself. The point here is that there's so much to see and enjoy, right? There's furniture to be looked at. There's there are old maps to explore. There corners to turn, people to see. There's so many wonderful things to be curious about. You see, and one of the things that happens to many men, when they spend time with women, is that they tend to lose that curiosity, the curiosity that they once had as children, right? Don't ask, they say. And sooner or later you start becoming, how should I put it? You start to paint everything in a negative light. You see, and that's just not how it is. So this black pill thing that some guys have going on in the manosphere, I think is best put aside. This philosophy of MGTOW, as I've said before in other videos, it's about it's about the freedom of man. You see, and if you never lacked freedom, then you don't know what it's like to have it, right? Or some people are so free and they don't even know that they're free, um, because they've never really lacked freedom, right? And but it's a matter of how much more can you enjoy life, you see? And MGTOW, this is my next point here. MGTOW is, if you spend enough time by yourself and you really follow the philosophy for what it is, right? No marriage, no cohabitation, no kids, with the mindset that you're doing these things not as a not because you were cornered into them, right? But because it's a choice, right? You choose to do these things. Nobody forces you to be a MGTOW. You're choosing to be a MGTOW. You're choosing to watch these videos. You are choosing to to participate in this manosphere and put and you're choosing to put comments in the comment section of many the videos of many content providers, right? You're choosing to be here. No one's forcing you. No, I have yet to hear a MGTOW content producer that says you have to be in my channel. Nobody forces you to be here in this electronic medium that we're all sharing together. So you're choosing to do it. See? Now, what you don't have a choice about is the same thing I don't have a choice about. We cannot choose what female nature is. You see? But our response to that has to be a response not of scarcity, not of nihilism, right? It has to be a response of, okay, well, this is it's a bad situation, right? It's a problem that we have now in the modern era, and it's a problem that apparently our ancestors have had for millennia, literally. And so we are very lucky in the fact that we have modern day computers, right, and modern day mathematics that has allowed us to look at the data, right, to look at this large amount of data and to discern this information from those numbers. You see? And so now we can pretty much tell, well, this is what women are going to do, this is what they're not going to do. So we are very lucky in that regards as well. So MGTOW, some people feel so great about this philosophy that they see it as a gift from a divine being. And I want to say I kind of feel the same way. It's quite a gift, to be able to know that that we're getting closer and closer to really understanding because I don't think we have just started to understand women, and if we continue down this path, where guys are analyzing the data, and sharing stories and looking at all the information that's out there, right, that's available to us, looking at history and everything else, we can reach a point where we have a more complete understanding of the interaction between men and women. And perhaps for those people who do wish to have a family out there, perhaps the solution may they may stumble upon the solution, right, of how do they make it work so that they can have children in a way, or they can interact with women in a way that doesn't really affect them negatively. So we are opening up a world of opportunities by choosing to participate in this philosophy, by choosing to be here and to share our stories and our time together. So I'm very optimistic about the future. I really am. Some people say, well, the West is declining and this and that and the other, but we have to look, right? We have to see. We have to understand what it is that people do on a daily basis. Now, what you say? What do you mean, sweet Padre? Okay, here's what I mean. right? People get paid. People get paid to produce. It's the only way you're gonna generate some sort of income for yourself. If you produce something of value for other people, right? That's the way capitalism works. You trade your labor, preferably some skilled labor, right? And that's what the future demands, that you become a skilled worker. Or you trade, your mental knowledge, right? Your know-how, right? Or you trade, or in the case of those of us who are those people who are better off, you can you can invest in some assets, right? And share those things with other people, and they pay you for that, right? Such as the case of rent or royalties or whatever, right? So um so people, millions of people, actually, literally billions of people wake up daily. These are grown-ups, right? These are adults, and sometimes children too. They wake up, right? And they go to work, right? And yeah, they don't. Many of them don't find it enjoyable. Some really don't. Some do, right? But most don't. But regardless of that, right? What they go out there and they do is they produce. They produce, and what they're producing is something that someone else finds beautiful, right? When somebody, um, you know, fixes a car, right? They're making the world a better place. Now, yeah, that's debatable because cars can be, um, the value of an automobile, as we have come to know in modern times, can be questionable, right? We're facing the destruction of the environment, and the alienation of people, and the separation between the better off and the not so wealthy, and so forth and so on. But um, that person, that mechanic, was paid to, with that aside, right? Putting that aside, that person was paid to improve the world. You see, and that's just one small act of billions of such similar happenings that take place daily, every day in the world, right? People get paid to produce. And so inevitably what's taking place is that, the world is advancing, right? We have this idea of progress. Things are getting better. And sometimes we stumble upon, things that are not so pleasant, right? I mean, you walk into a restroom and, there's shit all over the floor, right? And the toilet is clogged or whatever. But, eventually somebody gets to it, and they fix it. And the smarter people figure out a way so that the toilet doesn't get clogged, right? And there's some things that we're dealing with, right? We're still trying to do away with war, right? Most of us don't want it anyways, right? Um, and we're trying to do away with crime, right? White collar crime, as well as petty crimes or whatnot, right? And crimes of other natures. But the point here is that little by little, right? Society's progress from a dark age, right? At least in these 600 years or so, here in the West, we have progressed from a dark age to a point where a man can record his words, and and transfer those words through the vast emptiness of the universe, right? And to you, right? And similarly from your end to me, right? We can communicate with each other. We have tremendous amount of wonderful technologies that are making themselves available to us for us to live better lives. And there's the threat of nuclear warfare, and there's the threat of the annihilation of the world, right? But but the idea is that nobody wants that stuff. Nobody does, right? We even if you look at the worst the worst case scenario, right? Soldiers, right? They get paid to kill. But why do they kill, right? They get paid defend, right? And if it turns out that they have to eliminate someone else, in order to save the lives of then many innocent people, then that's what it is. But all in all, the idea is that that we're progressing, despite the fact that human morality tends to want to remain stagnant, right? We're making progress. So let's not call it quits. Let's not call it a black pill. To those guys that that find themselves lost out there, I think they're approaching the whole MGTOW philosophy in a way that it wasn't intended to be. It wasn't intended to be in such a way as to for you to call it quits. It was more in the likes of hey, we know we have this problem and it's temporary, and right now this is the best solution. And so some guys see MGTOW as most people do anyways. They see it as, most men see MGTOW as a temporary fix, right? A temporary a brief respite, right? That will allow them to bring themselves together again. And this leads me to my next point, my next and last observation here, or my next and last point, is that if you're truly following this philosophy, and you're approaching it not from a mindset of scarcity, but from a mindset of let's see what can be done, right? You'll reach a point when you will begin to find the philosophy itself, the lifestyle itself, as something that is quite desirable, a state of being that is quite enjoyable. And so you begin to enjoy your solitude. You begin to enjoy your time doing your hobbies and exploring whatever it is you want to explore, whether it's the inner workings of your mind, or becoming an athlete, or whatever it is, right? And so MGTOW, it becomes a very desirable lifestyle. That's how I see it anyways. I'm having tons of fun out here. What an incredible journey it's been this past year and a half or so. Actually, for me, it's been longer. I've been in the manosphere, in the official manosphere, for about a year and a half, but I had already turned a couple of women down, long-term prospects, because I was, in the back of my subconscious, right? I was already under the suspicion that perhaps that might not have been my best option to to tangle myself up again, right? To get caught in the briars of a relationship that might not produced anything of lasting and beautiful value for me. And so I hope you find yourself in that same position, that same situation, where you find this philosophy a beautiful thing to do and to be. Anyways, MGTOW, I thank you for watching. It's been wonderful for me speaking to you tonight. If you do enjoy, if you did enjoy listening to the video, please do give it a thumbs up. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much.